Hi everyone, this is Mary. You're in Mary Reads. Welcome back to my channel. Before starting today's video, I wanted to just kind of give a heads up. My husband and I got sick last week and we're just getting better. I'm working from home this week. So if my voice is a little weird or I look like I want to kill somebody, I'm just tired. I'm getting over a week-long sickness. So yeah, hopefully it's not a big problem. But what I wanted to talk about in today's video is my big wrap up for June and July. I wasn't able to read much in June. I just started my job, so I only read like 3 books. So I kind of combined these 2 months and I have 7 books now to talk about. I thought I was reading faster this month, but turns out I wasn't. But yeah, whatever. I had pretty good books and I really have a lot to say. So let's begin. First, let me kind of start with the books that I don't want to stop at for a long time. It's these 2 books, Good Girl's Guide to Murder and The Agathas. I really liked this one not so much. I think I gave it like 6 out of 10. I don't really remember that much. But this book had a very weird ending. It wasn't super believable. We have like a scene with a girl on a horse chasing a car and actually being able to like get to the car and crash it. And I'm just sitting there thinking, how is that supposed to work? I know horses are pretty fast, but I really don't think they're as fast as cars, especially when they're trying to chase each other and the car is not just like leisurely, driving around. The car is also trying to get away. So I don't know how much I believed in that. I don't know if I liked it that much. This one I did like a lot, and I actually want to give it to my sister whenever I see her, which I'm not sure when it's gonna be. But yeah, I told her that this is a very nice book. It's super fun, and I will be reading the 2nd and the 3rd. Need to get them from somewhere. The next book I read was The Phantom of the Opera, and with this book, I really enjoyed it. I really liked the atmosphere, the ambiance. I really liked kind of the story, the plot, though what I couldn't understand is this a reality? Is this a fantasy? So our Phantom, is he some sort of a magical creature? Is he actually like this phantom? Or is this a real person that's just so talented that he does all of these things? Because some of the things that happened, I feel like were pretty magical, so I couldn't see this like division between what's true and what's not. Maybe that's the whole thing of the book, that it's so magical and you kind of can't tell the difference between the dream and reality, between what actually happened and what didn't. But I know that I want to get deeper into this book and read it again at some point because I have so many unanswered questions. If you read this book, if you liked this book, please let me know how do I see it? Do I see it from the point of view of reality? Like there's this man who is so talented that he can write these amazing masterpieces in music, obviously. Or is this actually a phantom, this creature from another world that falls in love with this woman and wants to steal it? And we have this house that he takes her to. Is this just a house that somehow has this illusion? Or is this just this magical house that nobody can figure out how it works? So just tell me, please, if this is more of a reality or a mystery, this fantasy. How do I see it? Because I couldn't figure out what I think about the book just because I couldn't place it anywhere. I can't tell what is going on. Am I dreaming or am I seeing the real story? Like, where am I on this scale of dream and reality? And the next 2 books that I'm going to be talking about, I was very disappointed. I can't say that they're bad, but I was disappointed. Let me just say that and show you the books. So the first one is Partners in Crime by Agatha Christie. I wasn't expecting a lot from the book. It's this Tommy and Tuppence series. Agatha Christie only has like 5 or 6 books in this series. Mostly it's Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple, or it's stories that do not belong to any series. But this is a series. A husband and wife have a detective agency, and they have different people coming to this agency asking to figure out what's going on, what's their case. And here the whole idea, I think, is that they are trying to solve the case in 24 hours. So we have these short chapters that are not connected to one another. There is kind of this storyline that goes through the whole thing. They open an agency for a reason. They're trying to find these like Soviet agents or something like that, spies. So they're kind of hunting for those, but they open an agency to kind of also see other people, not to let anybody know that the agency just exists to catch those spies. So basically, in every chapter, we get a different case, but the problem is we don't really see the motivation, why these people did what they did. We don't see how Tommy and Tuppence got to uncovering what happened. We just see them saying, "Oh my God, you said that word and I understood something." And then the next page, they solve whatever happened, whatever, like a murder or a robbery. And they're like, "Oh, we are brilliant detectives." I'm not sure why I read this book, because I don't get to know the characters that appear in each short story. I know a little bit of them. I don't have a chance to kind of think about who could the murderer be. I don't have a chance to get interested in these characters and actually start caring about them. So I just didn't see the point of this book. I have to say this though. If you read all Agatha Christie's novels, you're a huge fan, you read everything, but you still have Tommy and Tuppence. You want easy little stories, you want great language, you want mystery, try this. The language is still great, and probably for Agatha Christie's fans, this is going to be great. But if you just started your journey of reading Agatha Christie's novels, you just read, let's say, Death on the Nile, The Murder in the Orient Express, you just read And Then There Were None, something else, and you just are going through the most famous books, and you're sitting there thinking, should I take Partners in Crime? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. This is the last resort. If you read everything, if you love Agatha Christie to death and you don't want to take any other author, try. The next book, I'm not entirely sure. I was disappointed. I was upset about the book because I'll tell you why. It's Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris and then Mrs. Harris Goes to New York. Everything is so predictable, especially in Mrs. Harris Goes to New York. In the first 20 pages of Mrs. Harris Goes to New York, I figured out everything that's happened. So then I was just reading the story, waiting for the events to actually happen. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is a little bit more fun because there's the story with a dress, there's the story of classes in the society, of people changing their opinion about these classes. That's more interesting. Mrs. Harris Goes to New York, I guess fun, but again, you're gonna be able to figure out what's gonna happen in the first 20 pages. It's not me being super smart and reading so many books that I identify a pattern. No, it's just super easy to figure out what's gonna happen. In Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris as well, but there is at least some sort of, you get used to the character. It's the first story from the series. It's more interesting. There's also, I think there are 2 other books, and I know that one of them is Mrs. Harris Goes to Moscow. I think I want to read that, just because I'm from Russia, and I said that before, and I'm interested in how Moscow would be portrayed, because before in Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris and Mrs. Harris Goes to New York, you could clearly see that Cold War did play its role in the book, and there is some sort of this not liking Russians, not liking Soviet Union, not liking Moscow, whatever. Spies, actually the same thing that happened here. The spies were Russian in this book. So I want to see how Moscow is portrayed. I want to see how Russians are portrayed. I wonder what adventures are going to happen there. But this is very, very predictable. It's fun. It's nice, very light. I guess this is like a summer read if you're on a beach and you don't want to get deep into anything. This is nice. This is nice. You're going to be able to tell what happens, and if your vacation finishes before you finish the book, you probably will know what's going to happen anyways. The next book I don't have with me because I had to give it back to the library, but it's 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and I really enjoyed the book. I loved the idea of our main character waking up in different bodies every day trying to solve the murder. And what's more interesting is that there is a logic behind why this is happening. There is a specific reason why this is happening, why he got into this situation where he keeps waking up in different bodies trying to solve the murder. There is a reason in all of that. And the book is very, very interesting. The only thing that I had that kind of upset me, I feel like in the middle of the book, for like 3 or even 4 characters out of 8, we don't really uncover anything. I feel like the main character is just walking, just talking, just thinking, trying to figure out what's going on, just observing. And I feel like the main thing happens in the beginning and in the end. So in the beginning, you get used to the setting, you kind of try to understand how the world works. So the first 2 characters, you kind of, okay, I'm trying to kind of get into this tempo of the book. In the end, obviously, you get all of these main scenes where our character starts to understand what's actually going on, what this world is, who the murderer is, what actually happened. He kind of starts to connect all the dots. But in the middle, I caught myself on the thought that I'm not interested. It's fine, but I'm not waiting to open the book for the next time to keep reading. It doesn't grab me by the shoulder and throw me into the book. I'm just sitting there kind of observing. I'm reading, I'm not reading, okay, whatever. So yeah, this middle part was a little bit upsetting for me. So for me, it's gonna be 8 out of 10, I think. The book is still very good. I think it's worth reading, especially because for me, it was the first time reading a book with this concept. But I just think it's good to remember that in the middle, it's kind of slow. That's just all I have to say. So if you are about to read the book, prepare that it can be a little bit slow. It can feel like it's dragging a little bit, but it picks up. The ending is great and actually very interesting. And the last book, I only read half of it. I'm going through it, and it's Ian McEwan's Atonement. And I have a story about this book. I have a very nice story about this book. So I got it in the library, I think a month or 2 ago. And I had so many books that I only started reading it like 3 days before my books were due back in the library. So I decided to reserve this book for another 3 weeks, but unfortunately it was on hold, so I had to return the book. And usually with Brooklyn Public Library, you have 2 weeks to return the book before it's reported missing and you get fined. So you kind of have to pay the price of the book. And I thought that, okay, in 2 weeks I can read it and I will return it then. I have to read like 30 pages a day. that's not that much. And yes, the reading goes kind of slowly with this book, but it's fine. I'll deal with it, and I should return it with even like 4 extra days in advance, so I definitely don't get fined. And I started reading, and I'm going through it, and I realize that I want to read this book slowly. I want to savor every word. It's so tasty, it's so juicy. The scenes are so wonderfully written that I want to savor every word, every sentence, every page, every chapter. I don't want to rush it. So in the morning, I go to work reading this book, trying to go fast. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't I buy my own copy? Because I realized that no matter what, even if I finish this book before returning it to the library, even if I do, I want to have my own copy. So the same day, I go to the store and I get my own copy. It's a slightly different edition. I don't know why. I don't see any difference except the color. So the older edition was black and white. This is kind of like brown and pink purplish. I'm not sure exactly what the thought behind it was, why change the color. I think I actually liked black and white more, but doesn't matter. I get this book, I return that one, and it's been about a week and I'm still reading. I'm still in the middle because I'm just savoring each moment. Such a good story, such a beautifully written text. If you like beautiful writing, if that's something that's very important to you, obviously everybody likes it, but if you love beautiful, juicy sentences, if you love this kind of slower storytelling, please read the book. This is so good. I haven't finished it yet, but I am gonna give it 10 out of 10. I know how it's gonna finish because I watched the movie, and that's why I kind of thought that I'll read it, whatever. I already know the story, but so nicely and wonderfully written. I got very interested in Ian McEwan after this book, after starting it. It's the first one by him that I've read, and I really want to read more. I know he has multiple editions, but I saw that some books come in this one, and I know that my mother-in-law has one of his books, so I'm definitely gonna keep reading him. And I think this author, so far, I don't know, I need to read more to kind of tell, but so far I feel like it's my author. I feel like we click. It works very well, and I want to continue reading Ian McEwan. Let me know if you read Atonement, what you think about it, if you liked it as much as I like it now, and if you are planning on reading the book. And these were all my read books. I'm sorry that I'm kind of getting tired already. I think I'm gonna make some coffee now and just sit and relax. But thank you for staying with me even through me being sick. I really enjoyed telling you about these books because I kept thinking about this video and waiting for August 31st for it to come out, and so that I could finally tell you about all of these books that I read in the past 2 months. Again, please let me know about Atonement, if you've read it, if you've liked it, if you watched the movie, what do you think? And then let me know about the Phantom of the Opera, because I definitely will need to reread it. So thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.